This is time for Business Now, right here on Zodiac. My name is Alex Banda. Coming up in this edition of Business Now, Nico Holdings posts a strong 346.2 billion kwacha profit in the year ending. Tobacco market rakes in over $200 million, but high rejection rate on the auction continues to worry farmers. And National Bank of Malawi Pension says 100 billion in pension funds lying idle. We have these stories and more. Please do stick around. Let's now get down to business. Nico Holdings PLC has described the year 2025 as very successful after posting a strong 346.2 billion kwacha profit, up from 114 billion kwacha in the preceding year. Nico Group's Group Managing Director, Vizenge Kumwenda, told stakeholders in Blantyre that most of the set targets for the year 2026 were achieved by the year ending 2025. On the performance of Nico Group, we hear from Kumwenda.
I'm happy to say 2025 was a great year for Nico Group, in fact the best ever, to a point that we achieved targets. We had a 5-year strategy that is ending this year, December 2026, but we were pleased to share with our stakeholders that almost all the targets that we thought were achieved in 2026, we actually achieved them at the end of 2025. Yeah, so yes, we are working on the next 5-year strategy, which will take off from January 2027. What I can say is that it will take into account the activities, the things that we did well in 2020 during the past 5-year strategy, and that we need to continue doing, and those that perhaps we didn't do so well, why, and how either we stop doing them or do them better. Having said that, we are also looking at the major developments, global, regional, but also here on the local, on the local economy. We're looking at Malawi 2063 and to see what are the priorities of the country, so that we align the next 5 years.
And one of the stakeholders is William Madewele, who has hailed the group for its impressive performance.
Despite the fact that the Nico Group was operating in a very hostile economic environment, but yet they performed. Our expectation as the shareholders is that a company that we invest in should make a profit. And likely enough, despite the hostile environment that Nico was operating in, but they performed.
A subsidiary under Nico Group is NBS Bank, which has also done remarkably well. At a recent stakeholder meeting that was also held in Blantyre, Group Managing Director of Nico Holdings, Vizenge Kumwenda, had a bit to say about the performance of NBS Bank.
2025 has been the best year ever for the shareholders. If you look at our performance in terms of profit after tax, it's over 140%. And in terms of dividends, they'll get over double of what they got in relation to the performance of 2024. So, with those two parameters, shareholders are very, very happy and have been very complimentary in their comments. But of course, apart from that, they are also interested in the future of the bank, both in terms of sustainability of what we've done and growth, but also other plans that we have to ensure that their investment is growing from strength to strength. In that regard, for instance, the shareholders were asking us as to our plans for regional growth, which we confirmed. We are looking at that. At the right time, we will communicate to them. They are also looking at, what are our growth areas going forward, and we did share with them that, Malawi has the Agenda 2063, which deals with the aspirations of Malawians, and we align our growth plans in such a way that we should be part of fulfilling those aspirations, because in doing so, we are satisfying the needs of our customers. So we did indicate to them that the growth of this bank is in the growth in servicing the agriculture sector, in the servicing the mining sector, the tourism sector, and indeed the manufacturing sector.
Frank Harawa is a minority shareholder. He also says the bank seems to be putting the money where it most matters in as far as the right investment tools are concerned for Malawi.
On that one, the mining one, I think it's a good move. To me, if even they would just concentrate on the mining one, because it involves big investments in the country. There are so many large-scale mines that are coming to the country. Kangakude is one of them, but our call to them is to say, be very careful where you're putting the money of the company, because look, if we give money to a mining company, for example, what happened with Kerekera, they were in the country and then they left the country. If the bank had put their money there, it's going to be a very challenging position. So we are saying to them, be very careful where you put your money, do a good due diligence so that our monies are safe. Going into the region, at this juncture where we're talking about mining companies and so forth, it's not really important, because what we're looking for is the forex, which would be easily be generated from the mining company themselves. And I know they have done a lot on the mining side, and would encourage them to do more of that.
And NBM Pension Administration Limited says 2025 was a success following a healthy return on investment, hovering above 115%. Now, speaking during a pension seminar for NBM Capital Markets in the commercial capital in Blantyre, the Chief's Executive Officer, William Mabulegesi, said about 100 billion kwacha in pension funds remain unclaimed. Our Business Now correspondent in Blantyre, Chikondi Mpande, took time to speak to Mabulegesi on the lying funds idle at NBM.
There are different schemes, but in total, as a national bank, we have assets close to 700 billion as we speak. But as I said, there are different funds, pension funds. Some pension funds are standalone, specifically for a particular bank company, and some pension funds are in a pool, whereby maybe close to 200 different employers, because of their smallness in size, they participate in a pooled fund. And again, the engagement also did not only focus on the investment income, we're also present on the mobile app, whereby members now, those with a smartphone, they can be checking their balances, they can view their biodata in terms of date of birth, if they are correct, and also briefed them on the default fund. These are unclaimed benefits. According to Section 62 of the Pension Act 2023, if a pension benefit is not claimed after 6 months, they are supposed to go into a default fund as a preservation fund or a dormant fund. So at a later day, a member can come to claim as the case may be. The list is on a QR code. It's on a National Bank website. Members can walk in to inquire more. And again, as National Bank Pension Fund Administration, we have also come up with what is known as a program withdraw as a product. It's a drawdown of the residual balance after a member has retired. The 50% can either buy an annuity at a life insurance company or a program withdraw with ourselves as pension administrators. So we were trying to demonstrate, to sensitize them how the program withdraw product operates. And
Senior Business Development Manager at National Bank of Malawi Capital Markets Limited, Netaute Nkoloma said they are channeling the pension funds to valuable investment portfolios. One more time, Chikondi took time to speak to Nkoloma.
For us, we have to make sure that these funds do not lose value, or maybe we should say they don't get lost, so that at the end of the day, you get back with a real return. So this has been our performance so far. Our clients, every year, they go back with a real return. And as you can observe, we have declared about 115% of the investment returns for this year. And this is the best performance on the market. So we really have gone as far as we could, looking at what we have done this year, but also on average, where our performance is always the best on the market. There are actually more viable channels that we're investing in. We have got the money market fixed deposits that we also put part of the funds into, so that it cushions the whole portfolio, because these ones have less risks. We also go into alternative investments. We can highlight that these are big projects that we go into, and these are also a very good cushion for the returns for pension funds. Apart from that, we have also gone into the stock exchange, the shares for the listed companies. These do also bring good returns. However, this year we have seen that the performance is a bit off. We do hope that it will pick up. However, whatever happens, we make sure that we don't put all the eggs into one basket. So we know that we'll be cushioned by others like property that I have not mentioned here. The money market fixed deposits will definitely be able to give you good returns.
Away from National Bank and the performance of NBS and Nico Group, the Malawi Gaming and Lotteries Authority, MAGRA, has announced new players on the betting scene. MAGRA Director General Muchanakwaye Mpuluga, who sat down with Business Now, said the move follows successful applications of the companies. Mpuluga, who is speaking to our business correspondent, Emmanuel Chibwana in Blantyre, says some companies have failed to roll out while some have gone silent naturally, prompting MAGRA to rope in more players on the market. Muchanakwaye explains.
This year, we're expecting to have other new players in as far as operators are concerned, because we released the RFQ documents, and as we are talking, people are busy now evaluating. Once we have them, we'll have new operators in the market, and we expect at least not more than 10, but maybe 6, 7, 8, thereabout. This means that now the market will have competition, because as you are aware that we only had a few operators. The only ones people know are not more than 3, but according to licenses, we have more than 10. The others are not active. That's why we thought it wise that we need to advertise and get a few more players in the market, so that the market should be competitive. People should be able to choose where they want to be. Basically, according to the regulation, if they're not active, we give them warnings, and then eventually we revoke the licenses. And that's where we are going, and soon you'll be seeing in the newspaper that we have revoked other licenses. I know of not more than 3 companies that did not roll out. I also know of other operators that stopped operating because of the tax issues. You know, after the Taxation Act was passed in Parliament, other operators thought it wise to shut down the operations because they were not ready to comply with the new tax regulations. So with all those, that's why we had to advertise and get new operators that will be able to be tax compliant and also operate in this market.
Locally produced ethanol is touted to reduce fuel imports and save foreign exchange and strengthen Malawi's economy through investment in clean cooking energy. Natural Resources Minister Patricia Wiskes said this after visiting Presken Company in Chikwawa, where she said investment in ethanol production under the Clean Energy Cooking Project, which will be producing 16 million liters per year, will save at least 5% of Malawi's population. We have Wiskes speaking on this matter.
I'm actually quite impressed that this ethanol is being produced locally in Malawi. As you are aware, one of the issues that government has grappled with is the importation of LPG gas because it has to be sourced from elsewhere. And given the forex challenges that the country has been experiencing, it has been extremely difficult to maintain those imports in order to keep the LPG supply consistent. However, with the coming of the local production of ethanol in Malawi, distributed and produced here, actually makes things quite easier for Malawi. And the good thing is that ethanol among users has quite much higher acceptability among community members than LPG gas. So this is quite an impressive stance that as government we really appreciate the efforts that Presken is taking in order to produce ethanol for clean cooking in Malawi. We are quite confident that Presken will be able to meet the demand that is out there. What is more interesting is that there are several other companies as well that are interested in the production of ethanol. As we speak, Presken alone is able to produce at least 16 million liters of ethanol per year. That production is expected to increase to 25 million liters of ethanol per year, which we believe will be quite enough to sustain the demand on the market.
And an envoy, Irish ambassador to Malawi, Kurt Brade, says local ethanol production can drive economic growth and create business opportunities and reduce Malawi's dependence on imported energy products while protecting the environment in the long run.
It's been fantastic to see. I think there is a huge amount of ambition. I think that's been evident across all three projects. And there's also a huge amount of scope for growth in this area. As I've mentioned many times, it's not only beneficial in terms of clean cooking and in terms of the environment, but also in terms of the economy, in terms of gender equality, freeing up the time of women and girls and so on. A huge economic opportunity. And I think that's been made real over the course of the last 2 days. I was very pleased to see many members of Parliament participate in this visit, as well as obviously very high representation from the ministries, including the Honourable Minister of Natural Resources herself. I think it shows the government commitment to this area, to addressing deforestation, which I know is a priority of His Excellency the President. And so I'm hopeful that these are just the seeds that have been planted, and in many years to come we will see the full fruit of the efforts that have been laid here today.
Now, that's from Brade. And United Nations Development Programme Country Representative Fenera Frost said the project will succeed if there is strong commitment from the government. Critically so.
Of course, how this lands will depend on government's leaderships, but I think that in her concluding remarks, the Minister of Natural Resources really spoke to her commitment to continue to pursue these issues, and I know she's one of the hardest working MPs in Parliament and also in government, so I am sure that that commitment will carry real weight. I look forward to continuing to engage with government and as we follow this up. I think this is really a huge opportunity. To quote one of the concluding speakers, this is not a case of whether Malawi can afford the waivers on VAT for clean cooking, but whether Malawi can afford to continue its reliance on charcoal for cooking moving forward. Charcoal is a huge detriment to the country. We know that the environment, your agriculture sector, the well-being of the people of Malawi rely on your forests. Once lost, those can't be reclaimed. So this is a really urgent national matter. But it's also an issue for women and children, because ultimately we know predominantly that it's women and the children that surround them that are impacted by the negative side of cooking with charcoal to human health. So this is really an important issue, and that's why I'm so pleased that in his inaugural address and also in the manifesto, the government and the head of state committed to tackling charcoal. And if I can quote the Minister of Natural Resources, the fight against charcoal, the fight against deforestation starts in the kitchens of Malawi, whether that's the commercial kitchens in prisons or schools, whether it's the household kitchens in Chikwawa or in Sanje.
Wow. Presken Chief Executive Officer is Bryson Nkomawantu, who said increasing public acceptance of ethanol cookstoves shows strong market potential that would attract more investment and expand Malawi's clean energy industry.
We have developed the project. We have brought in initial consignments of cooking stoves from outside, and we have developed the product, and the product is on the market. We have started marketing it, and people have started buying the product. So far, 566 communities have converted to start using ethanol for cooking. And we are targeting people that are currently using charcoal, because ultimately we want people to stop using unsustainable charcoal and also unsustainable firewood, so that we can protect our forests, and also that we can create a healthy environment, a cooking environment for our precious women. So at this stage we have also opened outlets, about 30 outlets in Blantyre, Zomba, Lilongwe and Chikwawa, where we are selling this product. And particularly, and going forward, we are targeting to add more outlets in filling stations, where we are going to be having a pump, and that people can go to the pump and get some fuel once all the logistics are done with the OMCs and also MERA. But particularly now we have the product in bottles, and we are selling this product in these outlets in bottles.
Going back to the Irish envoy, Kate Brady, she has also asked the government of Malawi to introduce tax waivers on clean energy solutions amidst high levies, which she observes are pushing people to continue using unsafe sources of energy from the environment.
And there are two elements of that affordability challenge. There's the challenge of the immediate purchase of stoves, as well as then the ongoing challenge associated with the price of the consumable commodity. We think that there are many interventions that could be taken to reduce the price of stoves, and we're working with the likes of B&P Investments to reduce those prices right down to where they're affordable. But in the longer term, in terms of the consumable commodity, in this instance ethanol, we think that the government can do more to support Malawians accessing and having more affordable clean fuels. For example, there is a value-added tax that is added to many of these. We think that a waiver could be in place to ensure that it's more affordable. You know, the challenge that we have with the examples of firewood and charcoal is that because charcoal is illegal, there isn't value-added tax there, and so becoming competitive with that illegal commodity is very challenging for those that are in the formal environment. And there's a wide variety of reasons why it will be beneficial to bring more into the formal market, not only in relation to future revenue, but also in relation to cleaner solutions today.
Now, still with tax matters, the Malawi Revenue Authority has singled out non-compliance of remittance of rental income tax among landlords as a major drawback. MRI Head of Corporate Affairs, Wilma Chalulu, speaking to Business Now, said the authority has now turned to the media, which plays a critical role in sensitizing the masses on the economic benefits of the tax revenue for Malawi.
The development of this country is the responsibility of us citizens. So it is very important, it's very imperative that each one of us on our own, we also take the responsibility to ensure that we oblige our tax obligations are in order. For example, as the media, the responsibilities will be to make sure that the information that is going out there to the citizens is correct. And for the citizens, they also need to ensure that they understand the information. If there are areas on their businesses, if there are areas and in the income that they receive that they need to pay their fair share, they need to pay their fair share. I must emphasize that the laws of Malawi say that if you're receiving an income, you need to be paying your fair share of taxes. So as a citizen, maybe it is your role as well to understand on the various incomes that you are receiving, to look to see if you are submitting your rightful share of taxes, because that in that way we are looking within ourselves individually, not looking at another person to pay the taxes. The taxes that we pay are the ones that are going to make sure that we enjoy the benefits that we want this country to achieve.
To end this edition of Business Now today, we turn to the green gold tobacco, which has by week 12 raked in over 200 million US dollars. But the rejection rate at the auction continues to worry tobacco farmers. The Tobacco Commission, TC, says the uptake of the auction tobacco remains truly so very low, despite the country raking in 202.1 million US dollars from the 98.9 million kilograms of the green gold so far sold in week 12. We are yet to get the updated results of the marketing season of week 13. But Tobacco Commission spokesperson Tereforas Chigwenembe has told Business Now that the Commission is currently engaging tobacco companies on the low auction tobacco uptake.
At 90 to 92% overall tobacco uptake, that is looking at the market as a whole, the market performance is satisfactory. However, as Tobacco Commission, we remain concerned with the uptake rate for auction tobacco, which continues to be lower than we would have wanted to see. We continue to engage different stakeholders on the market situation this marketing season.
And President of the Tama Farmers Trust, Abel Kalimabanda, says tobacco market trends this year have been very punitive for growers.
It's a great concern for as of now, since tobacco growers are still keeping their tobacco in their custody. There's no market for auction tobacco for now. I don't know, because they were saying because of overproduction, that's why maybe there is the rejection rate and the low prices. But we have heard that it's no longer overproduction. We have underproduced. So I don't know what's the reason. But let me tell you, this season has been a very tough season. We're gonna say maybe 50 years ago, it has never happened like this is happening this season. I don't know where a grower can take the resources now to go into the 2026-27 season. Since a grower have no money, we don't know if the season has started or is ending.
This is how we wrap up this edition of Business Now here on Zodiac. I'm urging you to catch yet another episode of the show right here on Zodiac. My name is Alex Banda. Until that time, it's goodbye.